You see why I said she should have been on Team USA? You see why I had to go off on the likes of Cheryl Swoops and others who were clearly distant and dismissive of her, no matter how much they try to deny it? There was resentment towards her, and here's why I said it was stupid.
Stephen A. Smith just ignited a firestorm online with his latest take on the WNBA, and the internet is buzzing. The big question is, why would Stephen A. risk his credibility and career over this? Before he became entangled in the WNBA debate, he was already in the middle of a brewing conflict with none other than LeBron James. It all began with Stephen A.'s trademark bold commentary on ESPN's First Take. However, this time he stirred deeper controversy by questioning Bronny James's standing as a legitimate NBA prospect. What sparked the backlash was Stephen A.'s suggestion that Bronny's potential NBA journey might owe more to his famous last name than his on-court achievements. It wasn't long before LeBron fired back, both on social media and during interviews. He pushed back hard against the growing media narratives surrounding his son and accused Stephen A. of using his platform in a way that unfairly targeted a young athlete still finding his path.
You know, I was on First Take, my day job on ESPN earlier this morning, and I spoke about this, and I felt the need to elaborate even further because a couple of people texted me and pissed me off, and they know who they are. People close to LeBron James talking to me about questioning him as a father. Come on, y'all. I mean, it's got to a point where this LeBron sensitivity is just beyond the pale. You call him the second best player in the history of the game. You're insulting him because you said he's not the GOAT. You're saying that at age 40, we've never seen anybody do what he does, but pointing out at times how he may not have hustled back on defense in a key pivotal moment, and that's a problem. You give him all the praise in the world when he drops 40, but he has a bad night, and you say he had a bad night, and you're hating. It's ridiculous. But never before has it been more ridiculous than it is right now, because the reality is that we got to be real about what we're seeing when we talk.
The tension lingered for weeks, with fans, analysts, and even former NBA players weighing in. But things took an even more dramatic turn, and the timing couldn't have been more intense. Just as the clash with LeBron began to fade from the spotlight, Stephen A. Smith stepped into another heated conversation, this time surrounding Caitlin Clark. Although Clark herself hadn't sparked any direct controversy, her rapid rise in popularity and the way both the league and media embraced her stirred mixed reactions. Many pointed out how long it has taken for black female athletes in the WNBA to receive comparable attention and recognition. Into this debate, Stephen A. jumped headfirst, passionately defending Clark. He argued that she was being unfairly targeted for dynamics outside her control, and that instead of criticism, her achievements deserve to be acknowledged and respected.
Caitlin Clark, all right? The Indiana Fever star was named Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year earlier this week, and she took time to acknowledge that race played a role in her success this year. Here's a passage from the article in Times Magazine. Quote, "I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing," end quote. You see why I had no problem with her being Times Athlete of the Year? You see why I said she should have been on Team USA? You see why I had to go off on the likes of Cheryl Swoops and others who were clearly distant and dismissive of her, no matter how much they try to deny it? There was resentment towards her, and here's why I said it was.
But what if I told you that wasn't even the most explosive part? In defending Clark, Stephen A. may have unintentionally sparked an entirely new controversy. Critics quickly pointed out what they saw as a glaring inconsistency: the contrast between his tough criticism of LeBron's son and his strong support for Caitlin Clark. The comparisons came fast. Why call out Bronny James for the privileges of his last name while standing firmly behind Clark, who's also seen unprecedented media support early in her career? And this is where the narrative takes a dramatic shift, because that perceived double standard became the focal point of the entire debate.
Because when she came into the WNBA, 22 plus years, they had been flying commercials. They were begging for chartered flights. She arrives there, and 2 weeks later, they got chartered flights. She automatically and instantaneously improved the conditions. Attendance is still lagging. WNBA is still losing money compared to what you would hope it would earn, but clearly things are on an upward trending trajectory. It's improving, and she has everything to do with it. Attendance for Indiana Fever games? Are you kidding me? WNBA draft, games on ABC, ESPN, television ratings. She's directly responsible. And people were resenting her for it, like she was the cause of the problems that they had for the lack of recognition. No, she just happened to be born white.
This growing comparison began to reshape how many viewed Stephen A. Smith's approach. Was he genuinely standing up for fairness, or simply chasing relevance by leaping from one controversy to the next? But here's what most people overlook. Stephen A. has long branded himself as the voice of reason in sports, a straight shooter who calls things as he sees them. Yet in today's evolving WNBA landscape, where discussions around race, gender, and influence are more layered than ever, that bold, unfiltered style might finally be catching up with him. And here's the twist no one saw coming. The Caitlin Clark discourse isn't just about her. It's about representation, equality, and who gets to control the spotlight. And somehow, even as he's still reeling from his public clash with LeBron, Stephen A. Smith has found himself right at the center of another cultural crossroads. Once again, whether he intended to or not.
Into the paint, they've got to keep it out. Clark, step back, hits a three. Defensive board or a turnover and push pace. On a deep three.
Around women's basketball, they understand their impact and what it has done and how they are living out their dreams today.
And right on cue, Clark.
It's been the second and third.
Clark, pull up three, that one. So you love to see that DMV showing up, showing out. Clark. So the best back circle.
She wasn't going to be able to see Katie Lou after last night's game, so today, really the first time they're